بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق.
In the normal urine and its microscopy reveals that there are few types of epithelial cells, occasional RBC, and few crystals are there. And urine basically have various type of microscopic insoluble solid substances which are present in a suspension form. And these elements are basically categorized as either as organized substances, including red blood cells, white blood cells, epithelial cells, cast, bacteria, and parasites, while there are certain unorganized substances. And these are basically crystalline and amorphous material which are also suspending in the urine, and on standing they may be settled down. So the main principle is that for the microscopy we will perform a centrifugation, and in this we will get a sediment at the bottom of the container, and this urinary sediment basically reveals these types of substances which will be observed under the microscope. And firstly we will examine this sediment in a low power to identify mostly cast, squamous cells, and other large objects. Then the examination will be carried out at higher power to identify the crystals, cells, and bacteria. So we can say that crystals, cells, and bacteria only be visualized at higher magnification. So what is the procedure? First we mix the urine evenly and pour into a centrifuge tube until it is 3/4 filled. This urine is placed in a centrifuge, and if you know the management of the centrifuge is that the centrifuge is running in such a way that two parallel tubes are inserted in the centrifuge machine. Otherwise if we not, तो फिर हम क्या करते हैं कि सेंट्रीफ्यूज को हम उसका वेट बैलेंस करते हैं. वी हैव टू बैलेंस द सेंट्रीफ्यूज एंड वी हैव टू कीप टू टेस्ट ट्यूब एट इक्वल डिस्टेंस एट अपोजिट साइड. तो हम ये करते हैं कि स्टार्ट में जब हम सेंट्रीफ्यूज करते हैं तो सेंट्रीफ्यूज में जो सैंपल रखते हैं वहाँ पे 2 यूरिन सैंपल एट टाइम रखेंगे और एक दूसरे के अपोजिट रखेंगे. देन वी बैलेंस इट. So after balancing of the test tube, we will run the centrifuge at least for 5 minutes, and at the RPM of 2500. There are different types of RPM mentioned. So the RPM may be 3000, maybe 4000. So it will more the RPM, it will reduce the time to sediment the urine. Then after that we will take out it and pour out the supernatant quickly and completely into the test tube. The best method is to take a syringe and just suck the supernatant in the syringe and transfer it into another test tube. This supernatant can be used for the protein determination. Then we have the sediment. Then the sediment we have to resuspend the deposit by shaking the tube and place 1 drop of the deposit on the glass slide. This glass slide after placing it on the glass slide, we will cover it with glass slide and observe it first on the low power objective, which is the 10, and then we have high power objective, which is 40. As you can see that this is the final slide, which we have a drop of a urine sediment, and then we will place a cover slip in such a way that there should be no bubble. Equal and clean layer is formed. Now observation. What will you observe in the microscopic slide? So you may have organic elements like RBC, WBC that we discussed earlier, and we have certain unorganic elements, and unorganic elements are mainly included the crystals. And crystals formation is basically depend upon the urine pH. If the urine pH is acidic, then the type of crystals are calcium oxalate, uric acid, amorphous urate, sodium urate, calcium sulfate, crystalline crystals, tyrosine, and leucine. And if the pH is changed, then we may have some crystals like triple phosphate, amorphous phosphate, calcium carbonate, calcium phosphate, and ammonium butyrate. You can evaluate that these are basically alkaline natured crystals. Then we have certain cast fibers, certain artifacts which are the basically artifacts are those things which are not a part of urinalysis and they may appear in the slide, and these artifacts should be neglected when we observe the slide. What are these? There may be some starch crystals, there may be some fibers, oil droplets, hair or air bubbles. So we have to avoid these artifacts. Now what will be the interpretation? So the urinalysis is basically done in case of pathological conditions, especially microscopic analysis is usually done after the urinalysis by the simple physical analysis or by the dipstick method, in which we have an idea of the condition of the patient, that either it is suffering from any disease or not. So if there is an infection or there is damage to the kidney, then further microscopic examination will be carried out. So normally urine sediments, you can see in this flow chart that there is chances that there are some cells are present, there are some casts are present, crystals are present, and organisms are present. And red blood cells, epithelial cells, and oval fat bodies are usually present in the pathological condition. Then we have certain casts which are either cellular or which are either non-cellular. Then we have certain crystals which may be normally present, and there are certain crystals which are abnormally present. For example, cysteine, cholesterol, bilirubin, leucine, tyrosine, sulfonamide. These crystals are indicative of the pathological disease. Then we have certain presence organisms are present in a urine culture, in a urine microscopy. That is bacteria, yeast cells, and vagininus, and microflurane, and Hematobium. Other maybe if urine is contaminated with the male, if it is of male urine and it's contaminated with semen, then it may contain sperm. So in case of renal disease, normally a condition is there where there is no albumin, there is about 2 cells per HPF concentration, and there is very few WBC, very few occasional hyaline cast is there, and some salts are there normally. However, in case of kidney damage, the protein content is increasing in the form of albumin. Then there may be certain number of the RBCs, and the RBC may be of normal shape or may be dysmorphic. WBCs are few in case of acute glomerulonephritis. However, red blood cells or red cast may be there, and smoky urine is there. The color of urine is also changed. In case of nephrotic syndrome, further damage is there. It is a chronic condition, and in which the damage is goes up to the each nephron level. So more albumin is there. However, nephron is damaged, so no RBC is basically filtered. Glomerulonephritis is intact, and WBCs are few as there is no infection. And in nephrotic syndrome, several casts are formed, which are fatty casts, iron casts, sexy casts, and epithelial casts. As the fatty casts and fats are also present in the nephrotic syndrome, then there will be the oval fat bodies and lipiduria, that is the presence of lipids in the urine. Then we have acute pyelonephritis, as we discussed earlier. Pyelonephritis is the damage to the kidney, and it is basically the inflammation of the kidney. So, as the kidney is inflamed and the nephron is not inflamed, the kidney cellular structure are inflamed, so there is no albumin or very less or plus 1 albumin. And RBCs is also not there, and WBCs are numerous. Because why? Because acute pyelonephritis it basically occurs in case of urinary tract infection. When urinary tract infection is there and it goes uncontrolled, then it converts from the urethritis or from cystitis to the pyelonephritis. It is a type of infection. So there are more WBCs, there are more granular casts of the WBC, and there is the clumping of the bacteria, and the nitrite test is also positive along with the microscopy. This is the general picture that we will discuss in our lab if the lockdown is over. और ये बेसिकली हमारे पास जो मैनुअल प्रोवाइडेड है उसके अंदर जो हमारी बुक है हम उसमें से उसको स्टडी करते हैं, ठीक है. एंड इट शोज एट वन साइड बेसिकली it shows the alkaline reaction, and at another side it shows the acidic reaction, and basically these are all crystals. जो कि आउटसाइड की तरफ है, these are all crystals, all and these are the basically unorganized material, and there may be certain are casts and certain are the simple single crystals. Just like we can see that in alkaline reaction we have calcium phosphate, we have ammonium urate crystals of different shape, we have triple phosphate crystals in the alkaline unit, we have calcium carbonate crystals, and we have amorphous phosphate crystal of no shape. Then we have amorphous urate, we have uric acid crystal, we have calcium oxalate crystals, we have fat droplets, we have sodium crystals, we have cysteine crystals, and we have leucine spheres and tyrosine needles in case of pathological condition. We have leucine, tyrosine, and fat droplets. The central part basically reflect the presence of organized material, and they are mainly in the form of cast. What are casts? We will discuss it later. The epithelial cells are joined together and clumped together to form a longer tubular structure, which is called a cast. Epithelial cast, waxy cast, fatty cast, epithelial along epithelial cast, something spermatozoa, red blood cells. This is again the repetition having of different pictures of different shape, but this picture is more clear, so I have taken it to for you. Now we will discuss one by one why these cells are present, and what is the pathological condition associated with them. Erythrocytes normally not present. The presence of blood vessel within the cast or single is always a pathology, and it is strongly indicative of the glomerular damage. If damage of glomerulus, then it will be by the nephritic syndrome, and it shows by the presence of erythrocytes in the urine. These erythrocytes may be of normal shape or they may be crenulated. What is crenulated? Crenulated means a rounded projection. It occurs on the margin of a shell. That is, the shape of the cell becomes crenulate, a process of resulting due to the change in on the osmosis, and it basically due to the hypertonic solution, and the RBCs got shrink and acquire a notch and scallop surface. So you can see that the shape is somewhat distorted, and they may be caused by a slow drying in a humid environment or an alkaline pH on a glass side. It means that it happens when urine is not immediately checked for the microscopy and it kept for more than 24 hours. And if they contain RBC, then the shape of RBC may change, and you may detect the crenulated RBC instead of normal RBC due to the osmotic pressure. Whatever the type, it means that RBC are present, it means that there is the damage to the glomerulus. RBC mainly form the cast, and these casts is in the form of this shape, and they form a clump, and they are identified as the RBC cast. Then we have leukocytes, and the first, if present in the urine, is called as spirea, and it comes anywhere from the glomerulus to the urethra, and it is the indicative of the urine tract infection. And normally there is 2 to 3 per cells per SPF. SPF means high power field, that is 40, which we will use to examine the cells in the urine microscopy. So Mostly these cells, what type of leukocytes are present, and these are basically neutrophils. And as we all know that neutrophils are which type of cells? Neutrophils are granulocytes or erythrocytes. Neutrophils are granulocytes. They contain two types of granules, and they have multi-lobe nucleus, and the diameter is about 10 to 12 micrometer, and they are the indicative of the acute pyelonephritis or any type of kidney infection. And these are leukocyte cells. When they are less in number, then they will be shown in the urine microscopy just like that. If they are more in number, then they will accumulate and form a cast, and they will appear in the slide just like this. You can easily distinguish. And the previous figure also confirmed that they may contain the leukocyte cast, not the hyaline cast. So we have epithelial cells and cast. Originally, only very few cells are present per HPF, that is high magnetic field, high visual field. These casts basically composed of three different types of cells which are present in the whole urinary tract. That is, either they are tubular casts, they are transitional casts, or they are squamous casts. These three types of epithelial cells basically are present in the urinary tract. Epithelial tubular cells are appear just like this, and they are of renal epithelial cells, and they are basically present in the condition like renal tubular necrosis, any viral disease, just like cyclomegalovirus nephritis, and in case of kidney transplant rejection, in which these cells starting damage and they come into the urine. Then we have certain transitional casts. Transitional epithelial cells are the characteristic of the urinary tract infection. Basically, these are those cells which are converted from the squamous epithelium to the tubular epithelium, and they are in between among them. So they may be a pear shape or round shape, and they are basically 2 to 4 times larger as white cells. If you can see the microscope and you will continuously visualize the microscope, you can realize the sizes of the microscope. And being a pharmacist, as you have already discovered and already see the WBCs last year by using hemocytometer. So you have an idea of the size of the WBC. So these are more, they are resembled to the WBC neutrophils, however, their size is greater than the WBC. Then we have squamous epithelial cells. These squamous epithelial cells are very clear, and they are basically visualized in the high power field, and they are large, flat, irregular shape, nucleated, and they the location of their nucleus is the central. Then what are casts? So one thing more about the types of epithelial cells. Renal tubular epithelial cells are always granulocytes, and they contain a large round or oval nucleus. Just like you can see that they have a large round oval nucleus, and normally it's slumped into the urine in a small number. However, with nephrotic syndrome and tubular generation, the number is increased. In case of transitional epithelium, the pathological condition, basically these transitional epithelial cells are present in the renal pelvis, ureter or bladder, and they have more regular cell borders. The cell border is very regular. They have larger nuclei, you can see, and a smaller overall size than squamous epithelium cell. अभी हमने देखा कि squamous epithelial cells का size इससे भी ज़्यादा बड़ा होता है. ये तीनों जो है वो एक ही फील्ड की है, दैट इज 40 रीजन पे हमने ये तीनों देखनी है, तो हमें स्क्वामस सेल्स जो है वो बड़े नजर आएंगे. So overall the size is smaller than the squamous epithelium. These cells are rounder, and renal tubular cells are more smaller and rounder than the transitional epithelium, and their nucleus occupies the more of the total cell volume. You can see that they are more smaller than the transition. It means that tubular epithelium cells are smaller, transition are in between, and squamous epithelial cells are those which are have the larger, which have a larger size. And squamous epithelial cells basically present in the skin. They are present from the skin, and they are the outer part of the urethra. So, if the damage is in the urethra, or if there is an infection in the urethra, then they will come in the urine, and they may be they are the possible cause of the contamination of the specimen with the skin normal flora. Now, what are casts? Casts are tiny tube-like particles that can be found when urine is examined under the microscope, and basically they are the clump of certain substances, and they mainly form in the distal convoluted tubules or the collecting ducts. They are not formed in the proximal convoluted tubule and the loop of Henle. However, normally they are formed due to the presence of a protein which is a mucoprotein called as CAM Horsfall protein, which is believed to be formed the basic matrix of the cast. The property is that these casts are basically can easily be dissolved in the alkaline urine. So, if the pH of the urine is alkaline, it is understood that they may not contain any type of cast, because if they are present at initially, and if the urine pH is altered due to the improper storage condition, then they will be not observed under the microscope. We have discussed the red cell cast, white cell cast, and epithelial cell cast. So we will discuss the remaining 4 casts. Among them, we have discussed the other type of cast. Now we have granular cast. Granular cast basically when cellular casts remain in the nephron for some time, then they may flush in the bladder urine, and the cells may degenerate to become a coarsely granular cast, later a finely granular cast, and ultimately a waxy cast. You can say that I'm repeating that cellular casts convert into the become degenerate, and they convert into granular cast. When granular cast is further converted into the fine granular cast, and ultimately it is converted into a waxy cast. So, granular and waxy casts are being believed to be derived from renal tubular cells, and these 2 casts are basically believed to be the damage of the dilated tubules, and therefore they are seen usually in the kidney disease. They are not present initially, so both granular cast and waxy cast are the indicative of the pathological condition. We have hyaline cast. Hyaline cast is the cast which is mostly present in the normal urine, and hyaline cast is composed primarily of a mucoprotein, and this protein is basically secreted from the tubular cells. And the size of the protein, the amount of the protein is about 30 to 50 mg of the total urine protein excreted per day, and they appear just like a green dot. You can see that certain dotty material is there, and they form a tiny tubular structure, and dotty material is also found across it because it is a type of protein appear as a greenish in nature. Red cell cast, we have discussed that it is a diagnostic criteria for the treatment of acute glomerulonephritis. White cells, in case of urinary tract infection, these casts are present, and then epithelial cell cast is haphazardly arranged, and different types of cells are arranged in the urine, and they form an epithelial cast, and these epithelial casts further convert into a granular cast. Then we have a waxy cast. Waxy cast is the further deteriorated form of the granular cast. Then we have fatty cast. Fatty cast is basically detection of the nephrotic syndrome and toxic renal poisoning in which fat and oil droplets come into the urine, and it is also a very pathological condition. Then we have sometimes it also happens that along with fatty cast we have blue ribbon crystals as well, and blue ribbon crystals form from conjugated blue ribbon and are needle-like granular crystals that are yellow in nature, and they may precipitate to form elements in the urine. Now we will discuss the crystals one by one. Uric acid crystals are of diamond or rhombic shape, and the normal urine also contains this type of crystal. However, these are indicative of either the increased production of uric acid in the urine, and this increased uric acid in the urine may be responsible for the formation of the kidney stone. Maybe it is a result of gout, or maybe due to certain chemotherapeutic agents these crystals are formed, or due to tumor lysis syndrome they may be present in the urine, and they have certain symptoms, and these symptoms are abdominal pain, groin pain, nausea, and blood in urine. And symptom of gout including the burning pain, stiffness, and swelling in a joint. As we all know that the concentration of uric acid is increasing in the blood in the gout, and this increase in the uric acid concentration is then deposited in the joints, and the extra amount is released in the urine. Then we have the calcium oxalate crystals. They are colorless annulus shaped type crystals, and or the shape is oval, square, or biconcave disc with a dumbbell shape. They either they are due to the presence, they are due to the ingestion of the tomato, orange, and vitamin C, as they contain high content of amount calcium oxalate. Especially tomato seeds have the high content of calcium oxalate. So those patients which have a kidney disease, they should be advised that they should not take the tomato seeds. The condition in which the person is having diabetic mellitus or having a liver disease and chronic liver disease also show the presence of calcium oxalate in their urine. They are also be due to the ingestion of the ethylene glycol, and maybe due to CNS problem or renal failure, this also occurs. This is the calcium oxalate crystals. Then we have amorphous urates, and they are the urate salts of sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. They have no clinical significance. Then we have sodium urates. They also present in an acidic pH, and they may be present as amorphous or crystals. Crystals, if they are in crystal form, they are colorless or yellowish needle-like crystals, or they may be present in the cluster form. Again, they just like other urates, they are of no clinical importance. However, they can easily seen in the normal urine. Then we have calcium sulfate crystals. Again, they are present in the acidic urine, and these may be present as amorphous or crystal shape. The crystal is again yellowish needle and occurring in clusters, and they have no clinical significance. They may be long, thin, or maybe of prism shape, and they also not present so much. So they are really rarely seen in the urine, and they have no clinical symptoms significance. Then we have crystalline crystals. They are colorless, hexagonal with equal or unequal size. You can see, and basically, as we discussed in the previous video, that there is a protein which is called cysteine. If it is occur due to the genetic inheritance, it is present in the urine, then this condition is called as cysteinuria, and this is the cysteine which is indicative of this disease. This is only formed in this form, disease. They can form calculi and they can form renal stones. Then we have tyrosine crystals. Tyrosinemia is a condition or tyrosinosis, liver or in case of liver disease, these elongated needle-like crystals are present in the urine. In case of then we have another type of crystal which are of leucine crystal. They are oily spheroids and they have yellow or brownish color, and pathological condition associated with is the hepatitis and acute yellow atrophy. Then we have certain crystals which are present in alkaline pH. That is the calcium carbonate crystals, which are oily, spherical, dumb shape, and they have brown color, and they are usually present with bacteria. Then we have alkaline urine triple phosphate. They are colorless, and the shape is a somewhat prism shape, and they have 3 to 6 sides. And normally it is present in the urine. They have no clinical significance. Then we have amorphous phosphate. Again, amorphous phosphate has no clinical significance, and they are present in the granular form. Then we have calcium phosphate. Again, they have no clinical significance, but they are appear in the urine, and you will visualize it. So we are here to tell you that they are normally present. This is all about the urine microscopy. I hope you have understand the lecture. If you don't understand anything, you will ask in the Google class. Don't comment in the group. Don't mention your name and roll number in the video. But you have to tell and you have to ask the question in the Google class group. Thank you for watching.